Before I start this commentary, do you motherfuckers really believe that after I uploaded 3 EBCW videos today that I wasn't going to make another one talking about the PlayStation 5 reveal? I mean, come on, man. I'm sitting here, I'm ready to get this shit going. So let's talk about this PlayStation 5 reveal. Before I do that, let me just tell you a quick thing about this. This is the For Honor story mode. The Viking chapter, I believe. I believe this is the first one of the Viking chapter. It's a pretty solid story mode, but this is just background. You don't even have to care about this. I'm talking more about what's going on here in this PlayStation 5 reveal. So, without further ado, let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's commentary. First of all, let's talk about the games and how I'm disappointed with some of them and I'm okay with others. Now, let me just list off a couple of the games that were a part of this reveal. GTA 5. Why? Why is GTA 5 still a fucking thing here in 2020? I understand that the multiplayer is one of, if not the most successful multiplayers of all time. Probably is at the time, one of the greatest comebacks considering how shit it was in the beginning. But, I mean, GTA 5 on PS5, why do we have to play that again? What new innovations could they possibly give us? I don't see how any of us could actually want to play GTA 5 again in 2020 on a different console where PS4 and PlayStation 3, if people still play it on PlayStation 3, they still play it, at pretty strong numbers. So I don't really understand that. And plus, when they were showing the graphics and shit, I did not care. I mean, to me, they still look the same as PlayStation 4. They don't look any different to me. So I don't see where Rockstar was going with this. I think if they were going to introduce a game for PlayStation 5, it should have been Red Dead Redemption 2. And that's not just because I like... that's not just because of, whatever. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is a visually more appealing game. And if it looks as good as it does on PlayStation 4 and Xbox and, all the Pro consoles like the Xbox Series X or is that what it's called? I don't know. The Xbox One X, excuse me, or the Xbox or the PlayStation 4 Pro, if it looks as good on those, I can only imagine what PlayStation 5, even if it's a slight difference, I can only imagine what PlayStation 5 would offer to Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't see the point in bringing back GTA 5 again unless they have some new interesting innovation for the game itself. Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man was a really big game. It was a really big game for PlayStation 4 when it released like a year or two ago. And I didn't play it, but I heard it was good. So that's good if they're releasing the Miles Morales one, which is like the alternate Spider-Man universe sort of deal. Which is not my personal... I don't know. It's just... I don't know. I'm not into those types of games, But I hope it's successful. That's all I could say. Gran Turismo looked and sounded good. Honestly, during the Gran Turismo reveal, I had a headset on, and it was really annoying to listen to the engine constantly. I don't know if it's just for the and I don't know if it's just for the interior driver view. I'm not sure if that's a thing in Gran Turismo because I don't play racing games all that much. But the game looked good. I think the game visually was one of the better looking ones of the reveal. It's just the sound. The sound of it was like, I keep hearing, and I'm just like, okay, what is this supposed to actually tell me? It was kind of annoying to say the least. But if that's what it sounds like, I'm sure it sounds cool. Ratchet and Clank was another cool gameplay leak. Again, I'm not too adept with Ratchet and Clank. I never really played it all that much. So that might be some sacrilegious comments made by me. But I just, again, was never really into that sort of deal. But it looked okay. The gameplay looked frantic. I don't know if the gameplay looked clean. It just that it looked a little frantic. I guess because it's a different type of style of video games that I'm not accustomed to seeing. Especially with all those, rifts in dimensions and shit. That was, really crazy. Hitman 3 looked really good. NBA 2K21 had its first tease with Zion Williamson. Of course, there's the meme going around of Sweat for NBA 2K. Honest to God, I think I liked playing 2K20. My brother got it on his account, and I actually have it on my account as well. And I started playing it recently. It's different, you know. I don't play sports games all that much. I just hope that it's a improvement of some of the things that they did in NBA 2K20 going on from 2K21. Although again, like I said, the meme of sweat has been something that has been quite enjoyable. I will say that much. Resident Evil Village, that was a really cool story. Again, Resident Evil is a series that I haven't really paid much attention to, but I did see the last one, and that crazy little, what was that one called? Biohazard or some shit like that? Something like that. I saw those Resident Evil games, and it was so fucking cool and scared the living ass out of me. And this one looks like it's going to be no better. It feels like it feels like something out of a folklore tale told in like somewhere in like the Middle Ages or the 18th or 19th century. That's what that looks like to me, and I feel like that's the kind of feel that they were going for, so that's pretty cool. And Horizon Zero Dawn 2, I forgot the actual name of the game, but you know, Horizon Zero Dawn, that was a game that had a rough go, I think, starting off on PlayStation 4, and now it's becoming something really fucking big, and they made another one, so that's pretty cool. So congratulations to them as well. There was a lot of other games that were like really shitty indie games, and I feel like I understand where some of the marketing comes from when it comes to the indie games, because having your game shown off on a reveal such as this only helps them. Sure, people might not be into it, but I'm sure there is a niche audience. There's probably a very large niche audience that play the type of games that that these reveals gave us, you know. There was this one game that was like an assassin game, and that was pretty cool. I forgot what it was like called, Looped or something, or Looper or some shit like that. That looked really fucking cool. That was probably one of the only indie games that actually caught my eye and gave me some form of interest, because the what do you call the trailer had like a lot of it gave me Sin City vibes, if that makes any sense. It was like Sin City mixed with some sort of John Wick, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Especially the beginning, I was like getting some really strong John Wick vibes, and I love the John Wick movies, so that was pretty cool. In terms of the actual look of the console, that's where a lot of the memes and shit are coming through, which I appreciate a good meme, but after they show the same photo in like 50 different comment sections, it becomes pretty old pretty quick. I think the actual console looks pretty cool. It looks like I saw a comment that was a really good comment. I think a lot of people didn't really think of this. There was a comment on on the trailer on YouTube, and it said something along the lines of, "This reminds me of a lot of the comments, or not, a lot of the designs that came out in like the later 2000s, like 2007 to 2010 sort of deal, of like what a futuristic console would look like." And they were really thankful that these types of wacky designs are actually becoming a thing. And that's cool. I enjoy that a lot. I don't mind the look of the PlayStation 5. I think I would have preferred black over white. That's really just a color change, and just how I prefer colors of consoles, I guess. I'm sure it might come in black in some way, shape, or form at some point. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know, I think the reversal of colors would have been good. It was a little too much white for me. In terms of the hardware, again, it's got 4K Blu-ray, Ultra HD, all that sort of shit. A lot of things that PlayStation, I think the PlayStation 4 Pro probably has, which wouldn't surprise me, I should say. The controller has a lot of cool features in it. A lot of people give the controller to shit because it looks like Xbox and so on. Again, the controller design doesn't really bother me all that much. I actually quite enjoy it. I just hope it feels good. Like, I love how the PlayStation controller feels in my hand. It feels like a perfect size controller. Whereas, PlayStation 3 felt really small, I just hope it keeps that feel that, from the PlayStation 4 DualShock 4. This is now called DualSense 5, I think it's called. So It also has a built-in microphone, which I don't know what the point of that is if you're using a headset with a microphone. So that is kind of weird for me, but still cool. A lot of the graphics look incredible on some of these games. Some people say, oh, they didn't really strike me and so on, which I can agree with a couple of those. Again, GTA 5 did not really strike me as visually appealing. It looked the same as it did on PlayStation 4, in my opinion. On the other hand, what was it, the one Demon Souls, the Demon Souls game that they had, that remake. I never played it. I heard it's a remake, but I never played it. It looked really fucking good. And that was probably one of the more visual appealing of the games that I saw. So, and it's actually kind of funny how in video games, people are starting to look more like people in a video game than they ever have before. And I thought that reached its peak in PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro. But it seems as though that is now becoming a thing in the PlayStation 5 and hopefully the Xbox Series X too, because I haven't really seen much of that when it comes to graphics or anything. But and the accessories look good. You know, they have that charging station, which, oh my god, a charging station, that would be a fucking miracle for me. That would be so awesome. And that webcam, that camera that it comes with too, is pretty cool. The console design we talked about, looks, I will say this much as well about the console design. It looks very sleek. It doesn't look bulky. The thing I appreciate about the PlayStation 5 over the Xbox Series X, and that's not to start a console war in the comments section, I prefer sleeker, thinner designs as opposed to bulk. I don't really like bulky designs on things because I don't have a lot of space where I game, and just having a fucking what do you call a big box for the sake of having a big box just doesn't really make sense for me if I wanted to buy a Xbox Series X. That's just me. So I appreciate the sleeker look of the design, and this last thing I'm going to talk about is what shocked me the most. This is what shocked me the most out of everything that they revealed. PlayStation 5 is going to have two separate consoles. One for digital and one for disc. So if you like having a disc and you like collecting disc boxes and all that sort of shit, and you want to get the disc one, all well and good. And then they have one that is solely for digital. Now, this brings up a lot of questions. And as someone that has a PlayStation 4 and plays on PlayStation 4 and sees how each game is, and sees how, you know, both disc and digital interact with each other, I can't really judge right off the bat what the actual advantages are for either console. I don't see the advantages and disadvantages for either right now. And I personally like to collect game boxes. You know, I have a whole bunch of them in my gaming area that I have in my room. But I don't know, just from a hardware perspective, I can't really determine, like I said, the advantages and disadvantages of either console. And I'm also actually quite confused as to how, if you can actually download digital games like you can on the standard PlayStation 4 and play discs on it at the same time. I really wonder, like, how that dynamic really works, because, you know, does that, you know, render the PlayStation Store on the disc version useless, or does that, like, I don't know, it's really weird. Like, I can't really describe it to you because it's just such an odd concept that I personally have never seen before or heard of. It might have been there some way, shape, or form. I have personally never really seen or heard of it. So I wonder how that's going to happen. I don't know. I wonder if that's going to change the dynamic of the PlayStation Store. Maybe the disc version's just like the PlayStation 4 version. It's like a standard. You can still play digitally or use discs if you want to, and if you just want to play digitally and you don't want to clog up your space with discs, you get the digital only. I don't know. Like, I hope at some point they offer specs on that sort of deal, but that's really the only thing that puzzled me the most about the PlayStation 5 reveal. But that's it, guys. That's my thoughts. You know, I don't want to say I'm a PlayStation fanboy, but I do enjoy PlayStation 5, playing PlayStation, because that's where all my homies are. I hope at some point in time I get that opportunity to buy a PlayStation 5, because we don't really know what the price is yet. But I hope that when I get that opportunity, I can give you guys a lot more cool content and a lot more cool games. And I welcome that opportunity when the time comes, whether it's in 2020, whether it's later in 2020, or sometime in 2021. That's all I could say about that. So, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this little story mode for the Viking chapter of For Honor. And check out For Honor. It's a pretty cool game. I featured it a couple times in the past on the channel. And that's about it for me, guys, once again. So, thank you guys for joining. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. And I got plenty more great videos up for you guys next week. See you guys soon.